And a case for working with your hands, which is an essay about the importance of more real jobs in society that believes that working in smarter jobs that don't involve getting your hands dirty or jobs that don't need an education. The author explains and shows that jobs that don't involve the college education are not only just as important as those that do require an education, but can potentially pay just as much. To me, this really stood out because it essentially disagreed with something that I've thought for most of my educational life. Even though I still plan on getting an education, it really brought different jobs into light and helped me to realize that some of the rumors or misconceptions that I have about jobs um, that require people working with their hands. A quote that I found really interesting in this essay is there probably aren't many jobs that can be reduced to rule following and still be done well. I found this pretty interesting because it well explained that you do need to have a certain amount of intelligence no matter what type of work you do. And I Was a Warehouse Wage Slave. The narrator is a journalist who goes to work for a warehouse because it's essentially notorious for how difficult it is to work there. She spends a few days in the warehouse basically slaving away just as the other workers there do, and interviews people also while doing so, which is even more so reinforces the rumors of how difficult it is to work there. The reason this one stood out to me is because of how unrelatable it is, I suppose. It's very humbling and kind of showed me how good I have it compared to these people that work long hours in these harsh conditions. I found it almost interesting how harsh these conditions could be, as if they actually couldn't be real, even though they completely are. Um, but they were more difficult than how I imagined some careers actually could be. Now people could depend on them so much that they actually didn't have a pride or social life, according to one of the people in the essay. As one of the workers that the journalist interviewed in the essay, she says, "Leave your pride and personal life at the door. If there's any way I'm going to last, tomorrow I have to start pretending like I don't have either." And from degrading to degrading, it's theorized that getting away from giving letter and number grades may actually be good for the students. What I appreciate most about this article is that it's not based off of opinion. There's tons of actual factual evidence to support this. Again, what's really interested me is that it contradicted something that is very popularly believed. In this case, that grades are needed and better for students. Personally, I totally agree with the new concept that number and letter grades are definitely not a necessity for people to learn and grow. Personally, think that while focusing on grades, we actually soak up less information about whatever it is that we're doing. As a student, especially when I was in high school, I found that instead of reading a book to comprehend that was what was actually going on in the book, whatever we were meant to be reading it for, I typically scanned for keywords to answer whatever question was pre-assigned. Which I definitely think made me not only way less interested in reading, but also less prepared for higher level thinking and reading that I otherwise would have been prepared for. I think that if we are more focused on learning about the book or discussing it as a class, I may have actually learned more about it because I would have had more interest in it. It would have been more of a discussion than a requirement, and I would have had dreaded learning certain things less because I would have had a tighter grasp on them. By grading very specific things, we only learn very specific things, which completely limits our actual grasp on the bigger picture. Thank you.